Today is Volunteer Appreciation Sunday. So each committee will come up and give us a presentation of the nature of their group, whether it is a committee or it's like group that work together or ministry, and explain what they do. Okay, so you'll be given 2 minutes, and you'll find out 2 minutes not long. Okay, so you will come up here and give us a presentation of 2 minutes. You can either come up here in the pulpit and give us a presentation, or come up here and we'll have stand here and we'll hand out this microphone for you to speak. So feel free to do so whichever way you want to. And now I'm inviting first administrative board. Yes. Yes.
Well, maybe that says some of my duty sometimes, that you feel like I have no other way to go ahead and be funny. So, as chairman of the administrative board, it's my duty always to keep the workings of the church running smoothly, making sure we are serving God and reaching out to serve our community. There's an administrative board once a month. A couple of times a year we have a vacation. And this is where all the committees of the church come together to report their activities, which they are all reporting later. You will hear from them. It takes all committees working together to report and to become an efficient committee and church to serve our congregation. This enables our church to operate effectively, and we have a church that is serving God in all areas. All members are always welcome at all committee and administrative board meetings. This way you can have your thoughts and needs be known so that we know that we're on the right track. We have a calendar and lists all of our meetings and rentals. The calendar provides at least 2 months ahead, and it's posted on the bulletin board on the north side of the church. There are also yearly reports that must be completed and forwarded to our district offices at the end of the year. I also work with the trustees to make sure that the legal obligations are met and proper insurance and regulations are handled. The chair also serves on the Pastor Parish Relations Committee. I work very closely with Pastor Peter to make sure that we are in compliance with the district in all areas. With Pastor Peter being new to our congregation, he's had questions regarding procedures of the church prior to his services, and I hopefully have answered his questions and feel that we have a good working relationship. Our finance teams keep me posted on the status of our finances, and I also serve on that committee. I've made calls to PG&E, the garbage service, the fire department, and many more to keep us all in order. I don't believe this falls under the chair's job, but it's also something that I do, as I try to make sure we have a litter every Sunday and that we have fellowship covered for each Sunday. Richard and I also purchase all the supplies for the kitchen and bathrooms. So if you have any concerns or comments, please feel free to contact me at any time, as it's my duty in the congregation to keep a smooth running church along with the committees. I want us to have an active church that serves our community and strengthens our love of Christ. And thank you for allowing me to serve you.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to let you know that I'll be checking the time, and if 2 minutes pass, I'll raise this, and you get applause, okay? Okay. And I forgot to do this before, so I can't start it. Okay, please, Donna, you wanna?
You have to say applesauce or applause.
Applause.
It says applause. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Donna Kircher, in case you don't know who I am. And I guess I don't have a funny thing. This is who we are. Okay. The kittens are very much like what I do, not only here, but in my personal life. This is a team effort here at Grace. We are a team, and our team supports one another. And the idea of SPRC is to work very closely with the pastor and staff. If anybody in the community, in our church community, has any issues, it's really important that we hear and we listen to your voice. We meet frequently, we don't meet regularly, but part of our charge is to make sure that our pastor and staff are financially taken care of. It's utmost that we make sure that we take care of everyone in our church. I'd like Gail and Charlotte and Karen to come up because they are part of this charge. And quite honestly, nothing can get done in a church without active people working and making sure that our voices are heard. I want to personally thank them for all of the support. Oh, and Carol Lopez. Carol's kind of like on everything, and so it's really important. Lindsay Lato is also part of this, but she's recently had some changes in her life. Oh, okay, good, okay. I know, all right, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
everyone.
much.
Hand it right on.
This the board of trustees.
Right, I know that, don't I?
Board of trustees.
Would be nice, huh?
Okay, luckily, I found a book that tells us what we're supposed to be doing. I double checked it and I think we're doing pretty good. So I just wanted to let everybody know that the trustees, basically, we're a pretty good, strong group this year, and Dusty and Bruce are the lead. And I've sort of offered to do some little things to keep them moving along. They both work, so pretty much full time, so we gotta give them a lot of credit. And those that are here are Kyle and Crystal, and we've got Gail is over there, if I can take my glasses off and see, and Ginny, right? And those are the ones that are here, and we have more in our group. So it's did I miss one? So oh, Joan is right. Joan's right there. Okay. And anyway, so we let's see where I am here.
I thought I'd tell you how it really works in the trustees. I tell Dusty what I'd like him to do, and he tells me what he'd like me to do, and then we get Richard and Bob to do it.
Basically, formally, we're all responsible for looking over the property. And we are responsible for getting maintenance going, and you all know that just like running a house or an apartment, there's so many things between air conditioners, heating and utilities and everything like that. We are responsible for making sure the building and the grounds are painted and looking decently. Large equipment and equipment we need to oversee. We also are responsible for making sure that our building is available for those with disabilities. We have to look at the investments of the we look at insurances and all the grounds, and we are definitely a busy group, and thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Financial committee? Oh,
Bob, Karen, Carol. As you can see, some people do double duty. And I will speak quickly because we know that we'll get applause one way or another. But this committee really does handle the finances of the church. We have to make sure that we're following appropriate rules, to make sure that the treasurer, Joan, pays our bills, but she can't by herself do the money counting and such. Richard is our financial secretary, handles those responsibilities each week, and Bob and I fill in as needed, like counting and making sure the money gets to the bank. We are responsible for putting a budget together that you need to approve each year. We also include in that budget the pastor's compensation. There's a lot of discussion that takes place in handling that responsibility. As I'm sure you can appreciate, as you do with your own checkbooks and finances, we have lots of rules that we need to follow based on not only good business practice, but on the practice of what this church does, church as a whole, the conference. So we take care of that business for you, and we learn as we go about how best to finance this church. So I would like to personally thank each of these people here. We aren't always all together, but we definitely work together, even if we're not all here. So thank you, team. I look forward to getting ready for our charge conference. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for saving 25 seconds. And I hope you enjoy that image. Okay, the worship committee.
I was worried about joining the worship committee because there's so much that goes into planning the Sunday worship and the other events that we do. But there's this wonderful, magical book that for each date, it tells the Bible readings, it gives us a suggestion of the songs to sing, and it's absolutely wonderful. And even though Peter's in charge, I'm the blonde on the left, by the way, in that picture. Even though Peter's in charge, sometimes he has to say, ladies, let's move on. The nominations.
Nominations committee.
Nominations committee. Oh, that's me too, yes. Okay, in the Book of Discipline, we are called the Committee on Nominations and Leadership Development. I thought we just picked people that didn't know how to say no to do chores, but that's what we do. The pastor is definitely the chairperson. And it says, the committee shall recommend to the charge conference the names of people to serve as officers and leaders of designated ministries to the church. And we are supposed to identify, develop, deploy, evaluate, and monitor Christian spiritual leadership for the local congregation. So if we ask you to do something, it's because we think you're really cool.
Thank you. And membership secretary, Steel Ministry.
As membership, I'm Judy Coopton. As membership secretary, I'm responsible for making sure that as many of you can, have signed the book that goes around.
Put the
I
microphone to
keep
your
a
breast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep a record of who is here, who's not here. If people are gone for a while, give them a call, send a card, find out what's going on. We also keep track of who comes to our healing services, the grace talks, if we have weddings, baptisms, whatever we have, to know what kind of involvement we have with the people here. So this is wonderful, and I get to know a lot of people, and I really appreciate that. So it's a nice responsibility. I have a second responsibility, and that is a wonderful one. I am a Stephen minister. Stephen Ministry was started in 1975, and it's spread all over the world now. Stephen Ministers are in something like 17 or 35 countries, and it gets to be more all the time. They're in almost all Christian churches, including the Catholic Church. What Stephen Ministers do is to help members of the congregation by providing Christian caregiving to people who desire that. And these are people who've maybe lost a spouse or a child, or they've lost their job, or they're having trouble coping with something, and they need Christian caregiving. This is not to help them fix the problem. It's to help the person go through a process. It's 1 hour a week, and we're careful about our timelines. It's totally confidential. And I want you to know this isn't just for you or your children. It could be for your neighbor or your neighbor's friend who is just having all kinds of problems. But if they'd like Christian caregiving, we can do that. I'm the only one from this church, but we have people, several from Linwood and Methodist in Pleasanton, and from Asbury in Livermore. There are about 15 to 20 of us all together. And we have trainings about every 2 years. I can say through my whole life, this is the best thing I have ever done. It's far more rewarding for me than it is for anybody else. Training every 2 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is mission and UMW.
Good morning. My name is Betty Rhodes, and I've been a member of the Methodist UMW for, 30 years. And I want to give you some information. The UMW was founded in 1869. It's the largest faith organization for women in the world. Their mission is to fostering spiritual growth, developing leaders, and advocating for justice on behalf of women and children around the world. UMW has been in mission for 140 years. The UMW missions have been pretty much tied together here at Grace, missions and UMW. And a little look down memory lane. In the past, for the past few years, some of the things that they've done. Karen Galloway, she was the president of the UMW here at Grace in 1988. You probably didn't know that, but that year they developed this wonderful little cookbook which they sold. I don't know if anybody has any of them left, but they're wonderful. Did they have some left, Carol?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. And some of the things that the UMW have done here, we've recently have collected food for the food bank. We've collected for the children's food pantry. We've collected camping equipment, socks, and toiletries to make hygiene bags, all delivered to the homeless. That's just to name a few of the things that we've done. If you have any ideas about future mission projects, I'd love to hear about it. I just want to say one more thing. This may be a small congregation, but we're mighty.
Next is church gathering. I think Crystal will come up and give us an explanation of it. You want to stay there?
There isn't too much to say. We're just, Robert and I, we try to keep the church in bloom, so to say. And we've had, as of late, Carol and Richard have helped us cutting the bushes because Robert had shingles, so we thank them for that. And at times we donate flowers for the altar or wherever it's needed. Thank you.
And we have like creations.
Last but not least, Creations of Grace is a ministry of Grace United Methodist Church, and we it's a quilt ministry, but we do a lot of other mission projects. We give quilts as an outreach, and we give quilts to foster girls' homes. We give quilts to people in need. We give quilts to people that are seriously ill. We give quilts to new babies. We give quilts for baptism. We have a lot of things that we give quilts for. We also have a lot of areas of mission. When we have our boutiques to raise money to support our quilt ministry, we're also raising money for missions, our blessing baskets that many of you are familiar with. 90% of that money goes straight to the mission project, the African Teen Ministry project, which is all the jewelry. 100% of that goes back to the mission, so we are not making anything off those. Sorry, I have some notes. We come together every Thursday for fellowship and share creativity. Many think you have to sew in order to be a part of us, but that's really not true. We have people that specialize in pressing for us, which is ironing, but you don't iron, you really press. We have people who specialize in humor. That used to be Monzel's job. She kept us in stitches, which is what made me think of the graphic that we have. She always had a funny story to tell us. We teach about fabric and sewing and quilting and even long arm quilting. So if there's any part of quilting that you'd really like to know more about, come and see us. And you don't have to be a quilter. You don't even have to sew. We will teach you things, and we have many things that we find people can do for us. We've had knitters come and knit with us. Crystal came this last week and knit. She has some wonderful things that she's contributing to the boutique this year. So it's really fun to learn stuff from other people.
And creations provide lunch, okay? Can you speak more about
Oh, I want to speak. I can speak about choir, but he just asked me to do it. You know, there's a small group of us that sing. We love to sing. Again, we come and join us. We have a lot of fun. It is some dedication because you have to come on Thursday night to learn the songs with us. But we have a lot of fun, and we try to coordinate with the worship book. I use that same book that Jenny has to try to figure out what we're going to sing. Also, Peter, I would like to take a minute to say one of the reasons you see me up here so much and on all the committees is I'm also the lay delegate to annual conference. Every church has one person, depending on their size, some have more, that goes to the annual conference meeting every year, that makes all the decisions, that makes changes in the bylaws and all that sort of stuff. And that person is me from this church, and that person serves on many of the committees so that they know what is going on, so that they can take information to annual conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have my comments. Okay. It'll take more than 2 minutes, sorry. Okay, 2.5, I'll try. Okay, let's go. So it was not long after I was appointed here at Grace. One day about 9:30 in the morning, I was running into the church building for a worship committee meeting. And I saw 2 people down there pulling something out of the ground. And guess who they were? Crystal and Margaret. And surprised, touched, and grateful for their service, I said, let me help you. And as I was about to take off my jacket, Crystal says, it's okay, Pastor Peter. Don't you have other things to do? Do you do your thing? Oh, it's my thing to do. And just so, I was told, not forced, to join the committee and plan worship for that Sunday. And another day, I was contacted by a person on whether she could rent our property for such and such. Trustees got together and made a decision. And later that week, I emailed Carol, do you want me to write an email to her? And she replied, no. I'm writing the letter, so thanks for offering. I said, okay. I'm mentioning a few, from Sunday fellowship to singing in choir or being an acolyte. There will be not enough time to explain what you all do for the church. It will be endless. We do it because each of us is part of this body of Christ as eyes, ears, hands, and feet. We serve not out of duty, but out of beauty for what God has done for us, because we are grateful, and I'm grateful for you all for what you have done. And today's lectionary text is Luke chapter 17, verse 11 through 19, where 10 lepers come to Jesus and healed. But how many come back, if you remember the story? 10 lepers are healed, and how many come back and thank Jesus? Do you remember? Only one, right? Only one. And he is a Samaritan, a mixed, looked down, and despised race. He turns back, praises God with a loud voice, prostrates himself at Jesus' feet, and thanks him for what he has done for him. Likewise, we come back to church and give praises to God because we are grateful for what he has done for us. For that, God has our willing service. Today, however, as pastor of this church, I want to add one more, that I am deeply grateful for you, for what you have done and what you are doing, because you are making us who we are. That is the church, committed to Christ and his kingdom. For that, you all have my willing appreciation and applause. Thank you so much. Let's pray. God, we give you thanks for all the persons who serve so faithfully and diligently here in this church. They are the body, redeemed by your love and grace and devoted to your kingdom and your glory. Bless their hearts, minds, and lives. Give them strength and faith so that they may serve you willingly and joyfully. Grant your wisdom and mercy so that we may understand and experience you better in our service to you and to this church. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.